Hello, my dear friends. Hello, dr.Kausthuba Desikachar. Warmly welcome today on this lovely day in the end of the year in the company of Dr. Kausthuba Desikachar and myself, Katja Ujčič. So we already have 5 eyes and 1 heart. So I hope that means you can see us and you can hear us and you can also feel us, my dear friend. So friends, hello Lenka, namaste also to you. Please let us know who is here with us on this last interview with our dear teacher. But not the last interview in general on this in this package of the interviews that we produce with our dear teacher, but the last interview in this year. So we already have some people with us. Hello, Maria, Rone, Rani, and Sarah. So thank you very much for being with us. Let me introduce Dr. Kausthuba Desikachar. For all of you that you don't know him, he is a yoga teacher, yoga therapist, a spiritual mentor, also a photographer, a father. And today, as you can see, he has a new haircut. Do you like it? My dear friends, let us know. Dr. Kausthuba Desikachar decided that it's some sort of ending for the hair, different than my hair. Even not fitting in the screen. So we are like opposite regarding the hair. Let me introduce myself. I'm Katja Ujčič, a student of Dr. Kausthuba Desikachar. I'm an expressive art therapist and coach and therapist for gifted. So we are having these interviews now since March 2020, finishing now this year every 2 weeks on Saturdays in order to make you feel better in these Corona times. So first, we would like to wish you happy and Merry Christmas. And in our last interview, this is our last interview. And I hope that these interviews elevate you, my dear friends. I hope that this interview eases some inner pains that you maybe have, and that you maybe a little bit that you are a little bit less confused in these very confused and strange times. We are ending this year with the interview titled The Endings and the Beginnings. And I would like if you write in comments down, what did you learn this year about yourself? What did you conquer maybe? Or what do you feel better about yourself in this year? What do you realize about you? But before sound is echoing. Okay, thank you very much, Jane. Maybe you can put a little bit down my sound on yourself.
My sound is I think it's yours.
Yes, I am echoing, but on your side. So just put it on your side a little bit down. Let us see if this is better. I will try to be quiet if this is possible.
Actually, it's better. It's better.
It's better, yeah. So my voice is echoing into India. Isn't this nice? Yeah. Is it? It's an echo. So Kausthuba, I would like that if we start this interview with a chant.
I'm going to chant about Om, because in our tradition, when we are beginning, we are always beginning with the Om. So Om is a very important mantra to begin something. So this chant is about Om. Om iti Brahma. Om iti tagum sarvam. Om ityetadanukrutiha smava apyo shravayetya shravayante. Om iti samani gayante. Om shom iti shastrani shagam sante. Om ityadvaryah pratigaram pratigranate. Om iti Brahma prasote. Om ityagnihotra manujanate. Om iti Brahmana pravakshanna brahmopapnavaniti. Brahmaivopapnote. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you very much. So, when I was thinking about the title of this interview, I was wondering if I should put first the endings or the beginnings. And I decided, also because it's a special time in the year, to title it Endings and Beginnings, and not Beginnings and Endings. Yeah. So do you, Kausthuba, like this title as it is, or is it better in the opposite?
I actually prefer this. Is very, very appropriate that it is ending first and then beginning, because I think we must have always a proper ending before we are beginning something. You cannot actually begin something without ending something. So even when God created this world, He ended the loneliness by creating this world. So He ended what was the previous state. So I think the ending is very, very important, that it's first before there is a beginning. This is also my view, because we have to let go before we can embrace. We must not embrace and then try to let go, because then there is mixture of energy that is not very appropriate.
Good. So as we see, is some sort of cycle. Yeah? So we end something and we begin. But nevertheless, if it's a cycle and it appears as a whole,
Yeah.
So it's like a whole energy connection. We still need this feeling of endings, and still we need this feeling of beginnings. Yeah, why is this like that?
I think there is no one moment where something is ending and when something is beginning. It's always a transitionary thing, because for us in the Indian culture, time is cyclical. Time is not linear.
Wow.
So it's cyclical. So it's actually, it's not that one moment something is beginning and one moment something is ending. I would actually look at something that is growing and something that is dissolving.
Mm-hmm.
So even life and death, it's like growing and then dissolving rather than ending and beginning, because life doesn't begin the moment we are conceived. We are growing in the mother's womb. we are growing after we are born, then we reach our peak of powers, and then we are using that to fulfill our dharma. Then we slowly start dissolving. Death is not the moment we are dead. We may be dead long before we are actually breathing our last. So I think that's why I look at it as more like a growing and a dissolving, rather than one moment that's a beginning and one moment that is an ending. This is something that we must understand, that it's a cycle rather than something that is a fixed boundary. I think in the Occidental culture, you guys like boundaries very clearly, like, okay, from here on it's this, from here on it's this. From 18th birthday, you can do this, you can vote, you can buy alcohol, you can buy cigarette, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like a milestone you want to cross over. But it doesn't mean that at 18, a child has matured into an adult. Some children may not yet be 18, but still mature. Some people may still be 48, 49, and still not mature. So it's very important to understand that we should not look for a boundary, like a particular moment that this is this is that. Having said that, certain symbolic endings and symbolic beginnings are very, very essential. Like, for example, if you talk about relationship, I really feel that if we are in a relationship that is not working, it's very important to end it first before we begin a new one. This is very, very important. We have to end first and start clean. Otherwise, there is a mixture of energy. And we must not find somebody so that we leave somebody else. That's also not right. That's also where the mixture of energy happens. The same with rituals. Like, if we are doing certain activities in our life, we need to end that before we begin something new. For example, if I would like to sleep and then I wake up and do a practice, I must end that sleep properly. And I must have a symbolic beginning to the practice. So I tell my body, mind, senses, hey, I'm awake now to do the practice. That's why I usually do a small ritual before my practice to tell my body and spirit and everything to align itself for a new beginning, for a new day. This is very important. Before I go to sleep, I recite a small set of chants that my grandmother taught me, so that we end the day and we are going to the sleep, which is a new beginning, a new state of consciousness, so that we tell the day, thank you so much for all that we have done. And now, God, please protect me while I'm asleep because I'm vulnerable. So take care of me. Let me have good dreams. Let me have good sleep so that I can begin again later. So these kind of symbolic rituals are important. Rituals are essential, but we must not get stuck into that as a procedural thing, but rather more as a
symbolic?
Rather as a symbolic thing, rather than a procedural thing that we have to do, like, okay, now we start, now we finish. It must be more like a symbolic thing. If, for example, sometimes people think the class has to end at 3 o'clock. Now, maybe you have not yet finished the class at 3 o'clock, but it's not like, okay, stop, 3 o'clock, it's finished. Sometimes it may be 2 or 3 minutes extra. Sometimes it may be 2 or 3 minutes late. It doesn't matter. What matters is the conclusion you're bringing to the class, not the clock.
Yeah,
the same way, what begins is not like we symbolically begin, or we technically begin at 3:30 p.m. India time, but we don't really start beginning the process until a few minutes after, because you are very beautifully and very nicely creating a sacred space for this interview to happen.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's true. Otherwise, the interview will be completely different.
Completely different, exactly. So this is important then, for example, for the beginnings, that we somehow create the energy for the new beginning, for the new, let's say, job, for the new love, for maybe the new child also. So what is important then in, let's say, in the beginnings? What do we need to have in our mind beside that?
I feel the rituals surrounding the beginnings must be to ensure that we are clean from the energy of the past as much as possible. So, for example, you talked about a relationship. So, obviously, some people have been in a relationship, but it didn't work, so they want to get into a new relationship. Now, they need to be clear of that energy, which it doesn't mean that you need 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, a deadline like perhaps December 2021. I am going to wait till that time to have a new relationship, blah, blah, blah. That kind of thing we cannot project. It's a feeling, we evolve. But we need to definitely symbolically cleanse so that the past is not interfering with the future. Even if it's a creation of the child that you talked about, in India we have procedures where when you create one child and it's born, now you will usually do certain procedures to clean the womb energetically to receive the next child so that the energy of the next child is pure rather than is interfered with the energy of the first child that was there. So it's very, very important to understand that beginnings and endings are very, very important symbolically as well as energetically. Energetically, it's very, very precious to have this beginning. That's one reason, which is to cleanse this energy. The second thing is we are orienting ourselves and our spirit to move in that direction, because we must not begin something just because we have lost something or just because we are seduced by something. We must begin something so that it aligns itself with our dharma. Sometimes it's hard because we don't know ourselves, we don't know our dharma. So we make all these mistakes, and that's why these decisions will usually end up in failures, so that we can learn from those endings. So the purpose of the endings is to teach a lesson, and the purpose of the beginning is to integrate that lesson so that we are more and more aligning the spirit in the direction of our dharma. And that is very, very symbolic. And it's what happened to me. For example, if you take my own personal case, for example, when I've been married first time, I was very young. I was only 21, and my wife at that time was 19. And I hardly knew myself. I hardly knew who I was. I hardly knew who my dharma was, and it was a total disaster. And so it didn't work out. So of course, eventually ended up in a separation. And it took so many years for me to separate, which itself was very traumatic and painful, but eventually it happened. But by that time, I was already in my late 30s and late 30s actually. And by this time, I kind of knew who I was, what is my dharma. And so my relationship after that with Evelyn, actually, who was a wonderful partner, actually made me a better person. And I'm very eternally grateful for that, because it actually improved who I was and aligned myself to the dharma. But of course, based on so many other consequences, which was not necessarily meant to be the relationship of my life. And so that also ended. And we are still very good friends, and that is why I know that it was a divine gift as well. Then after that, I only had one other short, longer-ish term relationship, which actually brought me closer to the God. And so now that has ended, and I'm ready for a new beginning. And because I'm very, very clear that my direction is to go in the direction of my dharma, which is guided by the divine. And I know that the person who I'm going to be with should be somebody who will support this. And that's why when I put out that energy, I will only attract those kind of people who are aligned with that. So I say that every ending is a lesson for a new beginning. And every beginning is to align ourselves with the spirit, align our spirit in the direction of our dharma. And if we don't do that, we are going to fail again, and we're going to suffer again. And I think that is the biggest lesson for us as a humanity to learn. Otherwise, we keep repeating the same mistakes, and we are like the hamster in a wheel that's running, but it's in the same place. It's not moving forward. And this is very important.
But it probably is also, the hamster wheel is also in a way a divine circle, or it's not.
I don't think the divine has created us to be in the same place forever. We have been given a dharma to do, and if we are in the same place, then we are not really fulfilling the divine purpose. we need to move forward in our dharma. It's not just to run around like hamsters making money so that we can pay the bills, so that we can stay with the same quality of life. This is a hamster on a wheel. We need to move forward in our dharma, and for which I really feel we are very rarely able to do it alone. And that's why we need to have a partner who will support us in this journey. And many people say to me, oh, but the monks don't do it, and some certain monks don't do it and all that. But the monks maybe don't have a romantic partner, but they do have partners who support the dharma in the terms of other monks.
Yeah, in community.
People who are basically supporting them. Because dharma is not an easy task. Dharma is a task that is achieved together, accomplished together. And the role of two partners is to be the light and the darkness for each other. Like when one partner is dark, the light from the other will shine. And then, of course, the time will come for the reverse. It's like breathing, expansion and contraction. When inhale is happening, exhale gives it that space. When exhale is happening, inhale gives it that space. And that is how it should be. And that is why we have to have this reflection in every one of our relationships.
Wow, this is very, very profound. Yeah, very good. So that we are not thinking about relationships.
Sometimes I can say profound things.
Yes, yes, we know. This is why we are very, very glad and listening to you. Yeah, dear friends, let us tell Kausthuba how much we are enjoying these conversations and his wise words. I think he needs to hear.
You are so charming, Katya. Thank you so much. Well, charmantly.
So yeah, and also for example, from my experience also with these interviews, I can experience when I can, let's say, breathe and ask you, and when you then have a space for the answer, it's a little bit the same, and it's in a way as a breathing,
It's the same in every process, speaking and listening. When one is speaking, the other has to listen, give the space to listen. And then it's reversed. Then the other person has the talking time, and we have to listen. If you and me talk in the same time, nothing is going to manifest. It's just going to be noise.
Yeah, exactly. So what about the endings? What is important in endings then?
As I explained, it is my feeling that an ending is a way to symbolically be grateful for what lessons you have learned from the previous cycle. And if the previous cycle is not taking us in the direction of our dharma, we have to make very serious reflection of our to a place where we need to let go. So an ending is a letting go of things that are being an obstacle to our dharma. And as I said, there's the other part, which is cleansing spiritually and energetically the impressions that the previous cycles leave on us, so that that is not carried on into the next activity. It's not carried on into the next activity. See, you are very privileged in Western country that you have different glasses for different things. But I'm in India, I'm a little silly. I only have one cup. And I use this cup for my tea, for my coffee, for my water, for my juice. It's the same cup. Now, what do I do when I have to use it for a juice and then for a tea? I have to clean that cup so that it doesn't have the energy of the tea when I drink the juice. The same, so the cleaning is the ending. So the same way, this body is a container, a cup, a container. And this body is being used for different daily activities. We are interacting with different people. So if we are not cleaning it, the energy of one will be transferred to the other. So for example, when you come from your office to your home, you should symbolically clean that energy so that you don't bring the energy of the office to the home. And then that would create problem if you don't do that, because maybe you're frustrated with your boss, but then you scream at your children because you're angry with your boss. You bring that. So you have to clean it. My father used to have a very interesting procedure.
Yeah.
Every time he would see a patient in his office, in our house, or in his office in the building, he would always walk them out till the gate, talk to them, say goodbye, before he would come back and see the next patient. And I asked my father one time, why do you do that? And this is when he taught me this, which is so symbolic. He was ending this student when he was walking him to the gate, him or her to the gate. It was one way of concluding that energetic cycle with that student. Yeah. Then while he's walking back alone, he's letting go that student and orienting himself for the next student that he's going to see, so that he would say that that student and their energy is not present in this student when we see them. So that's why it's very important to take time. And this is a problem today, because many people today, even yoga teachers and other things, they don't even give any break. They keep doing program after program after program after program, class after class after class after class. It's not good. And you know me, I'm always giving class only for 50 minutes in my classes, so that there is a 10-minute break that orients me from ending the previous class to the next class, so that I don't bring the energy of the past to the present and the future.
Yes, amazing. So sounds to me that it's very important for the endings and the beginnings to have clear expectations, yeah, so that we know why we are ending something, that we know why we are beginning something, that we know ourselves, yeah, about others also, yeah, expectations.
Namaste, Katya.
Yeah.
Namaste. I don't like the word expectation, because expectation sets us up for failure. That's why I very carefully use the word.
Okay.
The spirit orients itself to the dharma. Orientation is necessary, not expectation. For example, if I am going into a relationship, let's say with a new person or a person, with a set of expectations, I can guarantee you that I will fail in this, because all our expectations are not going to be met. The other person will also have a set of expectations, and we may not meet that expectations. Whereas if we are going towards a relationship with an orientation where we honestly state what is our dharma, in what direction we are going, what is our purpose in life, what is the direction we are going, and then if the other person chooses where they are going, and then you decide, okay, we can walk this path together, and let's face whatever comes in this path. That is better, because that is coming together based on an orientation, not based on an expectation. Because if we are saying, oh, with this expectation, I want us to do this, and I want us to be able to have coffee 3 times a week together, and have whatever pleasurable activities so often, and have this and have that, that's going to be failure, because life is not going to work according to our plan ever. As I always say, the plan is perfect, just not our plan.
Yes.
So we can't go with expectations, and we don't know what God's expectation is. We are not that great.
Of course, yeah.
We cannot plan a relationship, no matter what the relationship is, whether it's a romantic relationship or friendship or employee-employer relationship or collegial relationship or friends, based on a set of expectations. That would be a disaster. That's why I prefer the word orientation rather than expectation.
Yes, great. So I was thinking more in terms of, let's say that when we end something, then we are ending it with clarity. You know, like, okay, I'm ending this relationship, and then I'm not coming back to the same person, for example, or I'm not, as you said before, like there is no energy. You know, that's clarity in our mind. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
or
why
yeah,
I talk about the lessons we are learning. Lessons
yeah,
give us clarity. So there's
yeah,
no point in repeating the same mistakes with the future partner or future friends if we have suffered from certain mistakes in the past.
yeah.
So if you call that as expectations, I agree with you. It's almost like we go into a relationship with the clarity of what is it that we don't want to repeat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. That's
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
what is it that we don't want to repeat?
yeah,
We cannot control what is it that will happen, but we can at least have an orientation that we don't want to repeat something. For example, let's say I was a victim and I became a victim in a relationship. I don't want to play that victim in the next relationship, because then I will only find a person who will take advantage of me. So my
yeah,
clarity, which you call expectation, could be that I don't want to play that victim role in my next cycle.
yeah. So
And that's very valid. That is
yeah,
very necessary. Learning is very necessary.
learning. Yeah, exactly. So we are entering these cycles in our life, and looks like there are many little cycles also in life, like breathing you mentioned, like sleeping you mentioned. There are all these little cycles, like new partner, new job, a baby is being born, that we are not even aware that they are cycles. Huh? So, but do you think that we have to take all our life as a cycle, like all is inevitably, yeah, ending, and then we expect new beginning? Yeah, you understand that we take something as, this is something, and it will end nevertheless.
Well, the beginnings and endings are always happening. Let's take, for example, a partnership between a couple. Now, there is a time where the couple say, okay, we start seeing each other, and then slowly the connection becomes stronger and stronger. And at one point that they make it official and they start living together, and eventually maybe something happens and they separate. So there's a beginning and an ending, surely. But within that cycle, on a daily basis, they wake up, they go to work, they sleep, there's a cycle. They eat meals together. There's a beginning of the meal, there's a crescendo of the meal, and there's an ending to the meal. Perhaps they're having sexual activity. There's a beginning of sexual activity, peak of sexual activity, ending of the sexual activity. They are doing a project together. Maybe they're building a house together. There's a peak to build the house, and then there's an ending. They finish building the house. So there are obviously multiple cycles that are going all the time. Beginnings and endings are always happening. We should not, what to say, make too much out of it, but flow with it like waves,
Mhm.
like we are surfing the waves. This
Yeah.
is how we have to understand this. And the surfing board on which we surf the waves of life is faith, shraddha, or trust. And that is the most essential thing. And that is what is the Mooladhara. It's not fixed base. It's like the surfboard is stable, but it's moving along the waves. A building cannot move with the wave because it's too grounded.
Mhm.
A surfboard, the surfer stands on its stable by adjusting on the board. The same way, that's what Shraddha will do for us. It will allow us to have that firm foundation on which we are riding the ups and downs of everyday life as well as long-term life. We will fall, there is no doubt about it. And the beauty of this is, if the Shraddha is the surfboard, the ocean is the divine. When we fall, the divine will hold us. We are falling into the divine ocean. So we can grasp back the surfboard and come up, because this is what happens. And I think this, in my view, the concept of faith, Shraddha, is the most important thing in any relationship in life, no matter what. Actually, it's the most vital principle of life itself. This is my view. I may be wrong, but this is my view.
Yes, it is very important, yeah. The first point. So, and in this moment, I am saying to all our dear friends that are listening us now and later on, tell us something in the comments. I have Shraddha in you that you are going to say to us, but mostly to yourself. What did you what do you feel better about yourself now in the end of 2020? It's a good self-reflection for you, but also for us to talk a little bit about that. So, because it was such a stressful and very strange and confusing year, we would love to know what did you conquer in yourself. What did you learn about yourself? So what is the ending for yourself? So the lesson in this end of the year.
You're asking me or the group?
I'm asking the group. I have completely faith in you. You will answer all the questions. So let's say hi to the people that join us in the meantime. So Jane is loving my hair. Thank you very much, Jane. Of course, hi. And we have Kausturi and Rani. Tell us if the sound is better. I hope it is. We have Maria Alejandra. Yes, hi. Erika. Hello, Erika. Shri. Hitomi. Hi, Hitomi.
You did not want to read the last name of Shri. Shri Subramanya.
Shri Subramanya.
Yeah.
Thank you. Then we have Suniva. Ingrid. And Jane already answered. Deepen my connection to the elements. Wow, very, very interesting. So this is the lesson from Jane. She said, deepened my connection to the elements. So as you said, we have the endings and the beginnings, and actually all the big ones and little ones are from divine, yeah. And this ultimate divine circle demands, as you said, trust in divine, or Ishvara Pranidhana, or Shraddha, as you said, trust that our path is in the hands of divine, and then we can then just go into and fall into the ocean, yeah. So sometimes when we are very still and in silence, we can, let's say, feel that cycle of divine. It's some sort of synchronistic messages or synchronistic situation that you can observe, and you can actually, let's say, comprehend. It is a divine circle in order for us to learn something, in order for us to experience something. So can we really observe that divine circle and the flow that you mentioned, the flow in it, and that we can really serve with that? Because this is very, very helpful then, yeah?
I always ask my students to reflect about this question. If you want to know the ocean, understand the ocean, how are you going to understand it? So, for example, some people may take a picture of it, Some people may observe it from a lighthouse. Some people may go to an aircraft and circle around and watch it from the top, etc. Some people may watch it from the banks of the ocean, etc. But the best way to know the ocean, at least to some degree, is to jump in the ocean, swim in the ocean. So if we need to understand the divine circle, this concept of Shraddha, we have to take that leap of faith and jump into that circle, the ocean of the divine. We can't know it and then jump. We have to jump and then we will know. Then we may know. So it's very important that we don't try to understand the cycle of the divine through the intellect, try to understand it, then say, okay, then I will become part of it. Actually, the question that you asked everybody about 2020's lesson, for me has been a very profound lesson. I lost my mind, I found my heart. Mm-hmm. And this is basically the only way to actually understand the cycle of the divine. We cannot understand it through our mind. We can only understand it through the heart. And that's where we have to follow, because it's only possible through connection. That's why another way to understand Shraddha is that it is a connection. And when we have connection, we have confidence. See, when you're connected to somebody, you always feel confident. Whereas when you're not connected to somebody, you feel afraid, fearful, anxious. That's why for human beings, one of the worst punishments is solitary confinement in the prison, because we as human beings, we cannot manage this. We cannot really manage solitary confinement. So we need a connection. We feel very secure. And that is what is Shraddha. Shraddha is keeping us secure, giving us confidence through this connection. Because once we have the connection to the divine, to another human being, or a teacher, we will find great strength. So that's the only way to know the divine, is to dive into the ocean of the divine rather than try to question it intellectually and then understand. This questioning approach intellectually is useless. That's why the divine will never be found in a university or in the university type of approach where you are discussing and debating about the divine. The divine will be found in moments when you least expect, in places where you least expect, in people that you least expect. It could be a spark of word, it could be an inspiration, it could be something. It could be something, you know.
So we can actually, let's say, when we are practicing or feeling the connection, and then the flow is there, we can somehow really observe, not intellectually, but really intuitively, these synchronistic messages. I was reading a book a long time ago, but this was in my mind, the Alchemist book, Alchemist, and that there was a shaman, or I think it was a boy who was going to be a shaman, and he was observing the birds in the sky. And then from that information, he got the inner information there's going to be a war. And then actually it was a war later on. So these synchronistic messages, they are all around us. And you say it can be inspiration from people, from situation, from some words. So this actually, we can attune so much in this divine flow that we can live like that. So you are smiling. So.
Because I'm getting that divine messages to answer your question, because you're always asking very difficult question, but luckily some ancestors behind me are showing me the way. See, I feel most people live life like how people go to a buffet and eat. And when you go to a buffet and eat, they say you can eat all that you want. But do we really eat all that we want? We only pick all that is there? No. We only pick certain things that we like. We don't eat what we don't like. So the same way, God's message the divine's message, the way we are doing, and I'm not talking like a religious person at all. The way the divine communicates with us is like a buffet. He throws everything at us. But what we do, we are so stupid that we just pick and choose what we like, and what we don't like, we ignore. So God may sometimes say, don't go in that direction, but we like it, so we pick it. God may say, please go in that direction, but we don't like it, we don't pick it. So if we treat life like a buffet, we are not going to hear the messages from the divine, the circle of divine we are going to miss. However, if we have surrender, we accept the grace that is coming, then we are sure to see, because there's always signs that are coming all the time in life.
Yeah, there's always signs. Yeah.
Many people tell me, oh, but I never knew this was going to happen. No, they knew this was going to happen, but they just did not pay attention. That's all.
Yeah.
I've done the same mistake many times in my past. I've not paid attention to the signs and I've suffered. Luckily, I'm a little bit older, and that's the secret, Katya, of my new hairstyle, because I'm graying. But if I become bald, I don't have to show my gray hair. So it's a way of hiding.
Maybe
actually, it's actually connected to our topic today, because in India, we believe that the hair is connected to our past. And when we want to let go of the past and begin something new, we shave the head with a prayer. So this is why this is happening, because there's something that is ending and something that is beginning. And that's why I'm so happy to have my Ronaldo style hairstyle.
What about the women? They also do that? Probably
yes,
not.
In India, the women also do it.
Oh, really?
Of course. We don't discriminate about this, my dear. In India, women also do it.
So I should also cut my hair.
Well, if you don't cut your hair for so long, it means you want to carry all the past with you.
My God, no! I have a feeling it's just they need to be.
You don't have to do it. There are other ways to cut. You don't have to do this.
Exactly. Yes. Or maybe next time, my dear friends, you will see me like Kausthuba.
Maybe the January interview, we will both be shaved.
Yeah, like that. So let's check the questions. Dipankar asked.
Dipankar said, "Namo Namo Mata." He's in Sri Lanka.
Oh, hi to Sri Lanka, Dipankar. Please tell me I am wrong. Okay, let's see what
he's wrong.
Yes. Shraddha for me is simply the sincerity of approach and purpose. This is the source of virya or determination, staying power or stamina. Please do correct me if I am wrong. So he's urging you that you should correct.
I think in one way you could say that is appropriate understanding of Shraddha.
Good.
And he says, Katya, please don't cut your hair.
You have to cut the hair. Rani said I have to cut.
Oh, Katya, Rani says you have to. So you have to now choose between Rani and Dipankar.
Oh, Dipankar. Oh, thank you, Dipankar. Well, I'm thinking about that now for years to cut my hair. So Letitia is saying the lesson of 2020 is that life is unpredictable and we are supported by life in all circumstances. The more we have faith, the more life support us. Shraddha is a beautiful concept. So very nice. And Maria Alejandra, she's saying, does the orientation, at some point of time aligned with the cosmos? Wow, very interesting question. If so, the ending and beginning lies in this place. Please share your thoughts.
I think, as I said, it of course lies in the cosmos. There is no other place where it is, because for me, the cosmos is just another word for the universe, the divine universe. Yeah, exactly. So it's, of course, it's in the same place.
Yes, actually, this is why the synchronistic messages are coming from divine. Synchronistic messages, also Carl Gustav Jung was talking about that, but he was a lot of time spending in India and Tibet and actually learning all this from ancient sages also, or the sages from that time. So he then put it in Western terminology and putting in a synchronistic messages, synchronicity word, yeah. But it is the alignment of the universe because dharma is also coming from the universe, from the divine. It's just like that we are connecting these puzzles and just need to be open to see that connection, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so you see, Rani said that it was a joke about my hair, so thank you, Rani. So I don't need to choose now, but you never know. We'll see what the synchronistic messages about my hair will be. So let's see. Dormammu, Doctor Strange, The Loop. What was that? Ah, it's from the movie.
Yeah,
Ah,
there is a movie that is, there is a movie called Doctor Strange, and she's talking
yeah,
about the
that you like.
infinite, I love it, the infinite loop of time. Actually, since you talked about the hair, I have been with long hair in the past.
This is your female version. So yeah, and then we have Erica is saying, "Oh, how happy I am! This is very good, Erica. How nice! This is very good realization. Again, I'm beautiful with long hair. Thank you, Ingrid." And Hitomi is asking, "How do you tell if you really let go of things or you repress them?"
When you let go of things, you will feel lighter, you will never feel heavy. When you
Yeah.
repress them, you will feel heavy and you will have anxiety, depression, many other things. But when you let go of things, you will feel very light. And when you let go of things, when you confront the same person or the same situation once again, you will never feel provoked. Whereas if you are repressing something, you will definitely feel provoked. And
Mhm.
that's a very simple way to see the difference.
Yes, and so for the last few questions, Kausthub, in this year, what do you recommend for the end of this year, which was for all of us putting us on the edge or into some strange place? How should we end it? Should we end it with big bang, with explosion, or should we end it with a silence? What would you recommend?
You're asking if you want to end with a big bang and explosion. That is your style, Katya.
It's all about it of all the other people, yes.
See,
Maybe.
for me, I've always never understood why people have parties during the year end. I actually feel that this is a time of great reflection. Winter time is a time of great reflection, and it's very good to somehow reflect. It's a very beautiful question that you asked, what people learned from this year. So that's the basic, very fantastic question. What have been the challenges of this year? And what are the lessons that can be learned from the challenges of this year?
Yeah.
And how can we integrate these lessons in facing the future? This is the best way to learn because there's no point in celebrating like a monkey. You go to party and you wait for the countdown of the new year. What are you going to do with that? Next year you're going to next day you're going to that's it. You're going to wake up with a hangover and a headache. Rather, if you spend some time to reflect about it, maybe on the first of the year, you may be able to start orienting yourself a little bit more towards your dharma.
Yes, this is a very good suggestion. So we can all do that, my dear friends. And then in January, the next interview, we can share a little bit if you are for sharing, yeah, in the comments. So let's think about that. Let's self-reflect on the New Year's Eve about that. It's very good, yeah. It's also some sort of validation for all of us for what we learn, and maybe we can get these synchronistic messages from divine more clearer. So
Again,
one,
small clarification, divine does not mean religious divine.
yeah,
It's
yes,
very
exactly.
important.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and then another question, Kausthuba, maybe for you, of course, for you, how should we begin 2021?
The same way we have begin every year with a reorienting towards our dharma. See, many people make some kind of new year resolution just like a
Yeah,
fun thing, but actually I would suggest people to make a resolution of the new year is to find their dharma, explore their dharma, and live their dharma. This, I think, would be the best resolution for the new year. And yeah, that's what I'm planning to do. I'm very clear about it, so I want to pursue in this dharma and move in the direction where the divine is leading me to. And I want to pay attention to what the divine is trying to tell me. This is the best way.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in order to leave this fantastic interview today, I'm showing you, my dear ones, another photo was taken in Brussels with Kausthuba
Oh,
with
oh,
long hair.
I know this photo.
I
I,
found it now with a strange alien. This
I
was
know this
taken.
photo.
I'm sorry, should I not show it? But it's
No,
on
no,
my
no.
Instagram.
It's in Brussels. It's in Brussels.
This was taking Brussels, my dear friends, for a good laugh in the end. You see how much fun we have together. Also, not just online, but also in person. So, in the end, my dear friends, I would love to say to you that I wish you a very, very good start. 2021. I wish you that you are aligned with the divine in your heart, and that you can hear as many synchronistic messages as you can, and that you are blessed, and that you practice self-love and love for everyone around you. And with this, we will slowly end. If you can say anything, Kausthuba, to that.
I think you have said the most wonderful things, and I want to wish everybody a happy new year and a time of reflection to be with family and close friends if possible. And please look inside your heart. Don't think about things too much. Just look in your heart and follow your heart. This is the most important thing. This is the
Right.
most important. Follow your heart. Yeah. And to conclude, what I want to do is to offer a chant on Shraddha that we have been talking so much about. It's a short chant that is called Shraddha Suktam.
Yes, but just a small reminder for year 2021, we are still continuing the interviews. Yeah, so let me know if you have any topics that you really want to know about, that we can speak and debate about here on with Kausthuba in their internet. So let me know, and you can also, if you want, listen to the wonderful interviews that we have and some other things that I have on my YouTube channel. I just launched it after a long time. The courage came, so this is somehow also is the end of the new year, but the beginning of my YouTube channel. that it's not the interviews just on Facebook, but you can go on my YouTube channel and you can check the interviews there. So please do subscribe. It's nice to have at least one more subscriber. So so this is it, and in the end, thank you all, my dear friends, and now we will ask our dear Kausthuba to chant about the Shraddha, and then we wish you Happy New Year.
Om Shraddhayagne samedhyate Shraddhaya vindate havehe Shraddham bhagasya murdhani Vachasa vedayamase Priyaga shraddhe dadataha Priyaga shraddhe didasataha Priyam bhojeshu yajvaso Edam uditam kradhe Yatha deva asureshu Shraddhamagreshu chakrire Evam bhojeshu yajvaso Asmakamuditam kradhe Shraddhan deva yajamana Vayurgopa upasate Shraddhagam hridaya yakutya Shraddhaya puyate havehe Shraddham pratarhavamahe Shraddham madhyandinam pari Shraddhagam suryasya nimrachi Shraddhe shraddhapayehama Shraddha devan adhivaste Shraddha vishwamidam jagat Shraddhan kamasya mataram Havishavardhayamase Shante, Shante, Shante. Namaste, friends.
Namaste, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.